Welcome to the Rise and Ride Show, the podcast with me, Katy Jacks from Align and Advance, equine Reiki practitioner and rider confidence coach. This is your space for honest conversations around rider confidence, mindset, horses, healing and personal growth, helping you feel calmer and more connected, more confident, both in and out of the saddle. If you enjoy this podcast, I'd be so grateful if you could subscribe and leave a review, because it genuinely helps more lovely, heart-led equestrians find our community and feel supported on their journey too. Thank you for being here. Now let's get into today's episode. Hello, welcome to the Rise and Ride Show. Thank you for joining me again this week. This week's episode is about nerves when you're heading out and about. So how to stay calm when you're going on a lovely outing with your horse. As it can be nerve-wracking, can't it? Sometimes we plan these things and then we spend days worrying about them and how it's all going to go, because it is really different, isn't it, when you take your horse out to a show, a clinic, or anywhere else. Maybe you're nervous about loading, maybe it's about the journey, what your horse will be like when you arrive, worried that your own nerves will rub off on them. I mean, there are a lot of things to think about, aren't there? So today I thought that I would share a real life example from last weekend when we took Toby out with his best horsey friend in our new trailer for the first time. Toby has travelled before, but this was the first time I had ever driven him in our new trailer. So a little bit of pressure, a little bit of extra pressure on me. And he also used to be, and I'm saying used to be, a bit of an iffy loader. It came and went whether he actually really wanted to go into a trailer or horsebox or not. It just depended on his mood. He never actually seemed genuinely scared. It just seemed like sometimes he thought, nah, not going to do this, but there you go. So I've worked on that a lot. So the interesting thing is that it was the first time we took him out and the day went so smoothly, so smoothly. And it wasn't because Toby was magically perfect. Toby was Toby. But I spent a lot of time planning for success. Before we even left the yard, before we even hitched the thing up. So yeah, it's just kind of, it was all in the planning for our first journey out. And I kind of now need to not take it for granted that things went so well and actually put in an equal amount of planning for kind of subsequent journeys, because it's not like a one and done situation, is it, with horses? When I was younger, I had this amazing Bedford TK horsebox. I don't know if anyone is as old as me and can remember the Bedford TK, but my husband used to call it the heartbeat because it looked like, it was so old, and it looked like the lorries they used to drive around on the old ITV show Heartbeat. And I just used to like throw my big boy horse Alfie in that at a moment's notice and zip off everywhere without really a second's thought. But when you've got children involved, you kind of have to think about things a little bit more, safety being one of them. And so I planned really, really well, and I thought I would share a few tips on what I did and how you can make things go a little bit smoothly for you if you're heading out for the first time, or if you have been out lots of times before but something has happened and now you feel nervous about it. So confidence starts with your choice of venue. So we decided to go, so first of all, before the venue, we decided to go with a friend, and the horse we took with us was Toby's field buddy. And so we all decided to go together. Toby hates being alone, and it just would have not been very nice for him. So we wanted it to make it the best experience for everybody. So we went with our lovely pairing of the horse and horse owners that we get on the best with. So Toby went with his girlfriend Nancy, and we chose to go to the Langham Hall estate. It's a beautiful country estate in Essex, and you can book to hack around it, and it's absolutely stunning. Or you can book to their like canter track, which is really nice as well. So we booked for hacking. Toby absolutely loves hacking. We love hacking, and we thought it would be the lowest pressure thing that we could do. The reason we chose it was that it was a familiar route to the Langham Hall estate. I had driven it before, not with a trailer on the back, but I knew exactly where I was going. Familiar parking, I knew that the parking there was vast and often not very busy. So I knew exactly in my mind when I turned up that I would easily be able to park the trailer, because I'm not that good at reversing it. And it's a familiar kind of hacking environment. I know it's somewhere that Toby hasn't been before, or Nancy, but it is beautiful and it's quiet, and there are not too many things for them to be scared of. It's a low pressure situation in the fact that you don't have to hack around the whole thing. We could have done a loop, and then if the horses seemed too stressed, we could take them back, or we could stop for a while. It's not something like a fun ride where there are people coming up behind you constantly. It was just you could just there's so much freedom there. You can kind of do what you like, really. So when choosing your venue, it's really, really important to pick somewhere that you feel calm at first, because like I said in the introduction, your horse can feed off your energy. So because I felt happy about the journey, about the parking, about the fact that the hacking route is so beautiful and safe, and that I didn't feel like it was something that was going to freak Toby out, I think, then my energy was in the right place to start off with. And often when we're nervous, we often think that we need to push ourselves harder to become more confident, but actually confidence grows through successful experiences. So instead of asking like, where's the most exciting place that I could go, this is our first time out, and it's, there are some amazing places around here that we could have taken him to. What we decided to do was think about what's the easiest place that I could go and guarantee a positive experience. And that's the place we chose. So Langham was just perfect for that. So the power of mental rehearsal. This might sound absolutely nuts, but I visualise everything that I'm going to do before I do it. Everything that means a lot to me, that I want it to go well, I always visualise what I'm going to do and the outcome that I'm going to get before I actually do it. So for several nights before we actually went, I mentally walked through hitching up the trailer on my drive, loading Toby into the trailer, and Nancy. Nancy's an angel. She's absolutely amazing. She was just super going in the trailer. Loading Toby into the trailer. We'd done a lot of work on it, and he actually went in perfectly, so that was amazing. Me actually driving the trailer, arriving and parking, unloading, and being realistic in my visualization about how they would be when they unload, because often they get big, don't they? Tacking up and starting the ride. So I went through all of these things several times to really, really lock in my mind exactly how all this was going to go. And I'll tell you now, it went exactly how I visualised it. It's not just positive thinking. Sports psychologists have used visualisation for decades because the brain responds to vividly imagined experiences in a remarkably similar way to real experiences. So by mentally practicing success and making the unfamiliar feel familiar, you are actually solidifying that to happen in your mind, and giving yourself the best chance of that happening. Professional sports people imagine themselves winning. Muhammad Ali was someone that famously said about the fact that he visualized winning every single fight. So when the day arrived, nothing felt shocking or unusual because I'd already done it several times in my head. I'd been through it and everything had gone perfectly, and everything did go perfectly. It was amazing. So also planning, kind of moving on from visualization, planning removes the stress. So I start lists days in advance. I love a list. Oh, there's lists all over my house. I love a list, but I start lists days in advance because if I try to write down everything immediately when I sit down, so if I sit down and go, right, I'm writing a list of everything I need to take to Langham with me, then my brain feels overwhelmed and I just wouldn't be able to do it. It just completely forgets every item I've ever owned. So I'd probably turn up without a saddle or something. But stress often comes from uncertainty. The more decisions you make beforehand about what you're taking, what route you're driving, what time you're leaving, how long that drive is going to take, what the traffic conditions are likely to be like at that time of day, the less your nervous system has to deal with on the day. You've got to give yourself a bit of a fighting chance here. So after we'd decided where we were going to go, how it was all going to go, what we were taking with us, then it came to the point of loading the horses on. I mean, and managing my energy before loading Toby is really, really important for us. So Toby's history is kind of being a little bit of a difficult loader. I have spent lots of time researching different techniques for loading him, and I have found one that works just absolutely perfectly, and he has been consistently loading, although not going anywhere, at the yard, so that's great. And also not just consistently loading, but loading and standing in the trailer being relaxed, not just immediately having to be closed in, because I hate that. I think that's really horrible. But loading and standing still, we've been practicing that, and being relaxed, and then coming back out and then going back in. And he has got really good at it, so that's great. But I was still aware that it could be a little trigger point. So I just needed to know that beforehand we would both be in the kind of right frame of mind. So I wasn't actually worried about Toby, but I was aware of myself because it meant a lot to me to go out on this outing. And I knew it meant a lot to my kids, but I didn't want to let anybody down. So as I turned him out in the morning, and then when I was going to get him in from the field, I just walk into the field. I just did some quiet breathing exercises just to really calm my nervous system, and just kind of slowed myself down and became a lot more intentional. Just didn't want to rush anything. So your horse doesn't need you to be fearless, but they do need you to be regulated. And if you kind of walk up to them, they're just happily grazing and they're having a nice day. And then you walk up to them with a dysregulated nervous system and are all kind of jittery, then they're going to be like, I don't want to go with you. Are you mad? I'm having a nice time out here. Me and Nancy are grazing and just it's all lovely and relaxed. And you've turned up all jittery and weird and no, thank you. So, yeah. I just kind of wanted to regulate my nervous system and my breathing so that when I went to get Toby, he felt like it was a good idea to come with me. Both ponies were absolutely phenomenal. They loaded beautifully and they travelled beautifully, so that was great. So my driving can't be as bad as my husband says it is. He doesn't really say it's bad. He's very nice. So the biggest trigger point that nobody really talks about is the fact that we unloaded the ponies and they both appeared to be about 2 hands higher than they were when we put them in the trailer because they grow when they're nervous, don't they? They're suddenly massive. So this is where a lot of people lose confidence because like they've kind of done all their stuff at home and they all feel confident when they're on the yard, and then you take them out of the trailer and sometimes they come out like from like so fast, and then they're massive and they're snorty and they're looking around and they're thinking, where are we? I mean, it must be weird for them, mustn't it? The horse, like, they're really alert, and then you become alert, and then you're looking for what they're looking at, and then basically each other's nervous system just kind of goes absolutely mad and like feeds off of each other. So what we did instead was, rather than take them off the trailer and then whip them around and immediately tie them up, that like restricts their movements, and a lot of time then people kind of start immediately tacking up. I think that's like a little bit much, to be honest. So what we did was we took them off the trailer and we walked them around gently in some circles, let them move, let them hand graze. We knew going to this place that we would be parking on grass, which was just perfect because we knew that when we got them out that they could just graze, and then that is just the easiest way for a horse to start to relax. I don't really like it. I mean, obviously concrete car parks are better in the winter, but I don't really like kind of taking my horses out straight onto a concrete car park because I do like them to be able to kind of eat straight away. But yeah, if they can't do that, then I'd try and kind of simulate it somehow. But yeah, we let them move, we let them hand graze. And yeah, they relaxed really, really quickly. So that was nice. I don't even know that we actually bothered tying them up at all. I think we just tacked them up while we were kind of just moving around with them. Like I say, we chose this place because it is very open and very free, and it is like a really easy place to manage your arrival and tacking up and all of that. So it was just perfect. So yeah, after like letting them move to discharge the tension and chew to relax, and like letting them kind of sniff around while they were grazing as well, because that helps with processing their new environment, we then started to tack up. I load Toby, obviously you don't tie him up in the trailer in it, but I load Toby and take him off the trailer in like a Robert Maxwell rope halter, and he just totally understands it, and it just makes me feel really safe with him. He's really great in that halter. He loves it. So we just stood with them with their while they grazed, and then we just started to tack them up. So that was nice. So we let them shrink again for a bit, and then once they were normal pony size, we gave them a nice little groom, tacked them up, prepared for the ride, and we just didn't rush anything. It was just really nice. Sometimes, like, to create quick success, it's just better to slow down a little bit, and that's what we did. So when we set off on the ride itself, we let the horses look. I listened... Was it a podcast I listened to? No, I think it was an Instagram reel that I saw recently about somebody saying that most people, when their horse stops and looks at something, it makes them nervous. So they like instantly pull them the other way and stop them from looking at it. And they pull them the other way and make them like carry on moving. And they said, like, what's the harm in allowing your horse kind of 15 seconds to look at something? And I thought, yeah, okay, good point. What is the harm if you're not in the middle of a dressage test? And so we let them, if they needed to stop and look at something, we let them stop and look at it. And we let them explore. Toby can be a little bit spooky. And he did have a few of those moments where they're just la 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 la, and you get all relaxed, and then they go and they just freeze and they stamp their front feet down, and it really makes me jump. And I was walking, so my eldest daughter Olive was on him, and I was walking. Then every time he does it, it makes me jump. It makes me jump. And then they just walk off as if nothing's happened. But, he doesn't do anything dangerous or silly. He likes to be the leader, so he likes to be in front, but then he just spooks every 10 minutes. Bless him. But, being calm doesn't mean your horse won't react to like a pigeon flying out of a bush or a squirrel jumping out of a tree or something. But it just means that you'll be able to handle the reactions calmly. So he wasn't perfect. He was classic Toby. He was a horse in a new environment, but it's just exactly what me and Olive expected. Nancy was exactly what her owners expected as well, and was, bless her, she's such a sweet pony, and she sometimes copies Toby as well. So if he spooks, then she'll go, oh, even though like she hasn't really noticed it, but that's just what horses do, bless them. But they were absolutely amazing, and the girls were so confident riding them as well, and they went trotting off through fields and having little canters. And Toby's not like a strong horse or anything. He's not really a galloper. He can't be bothered with that. They were just having the most beautiful kind of trots off across this absolutely stunning countryside. It was a joy to watch. It was all just beautiful and went so well. So kind of pulling everything together, questions to ask before any outing kind of are there, like, what are my likely trigger points? So, for example, loading, driving, what they'll be like on arrival. For me and my terrible trailer driving, parking, reversing. Mounting, sometimes when they're somewhere new, they don't want to stay still because they're looking around everywhere, busy areas, things like that. And then what are my horses' likely trigger points? So like leaving their friends, the new environment, standing still, traffic, and what can I do before those become a problem? So if you have kind of really thought about the trigger points for you and for your horse, what can you do at home to fix that, or to prepare yourself to fix that before it becomes a really big problem? So I really truly believe that confidence isn't built by just hoping things go perfectly. It's built by having a plan for when things do not. Last weekend wasn't successful because Toby magically transformed into the world's most chilled out and calm pony. It was successful because we'd thought ahead. We'd prepared, we'd managed our own nervous systems, we'd given the horses time to settle. We just, we know our horses well, and we knew what things might upset them. And so we tried to preempt some of those, or we had a plan to deal with them if they did happen. So I think that's all we can do, really. If you're thinking about taking your horse out this summer, spend some time just mentally walking yourself through the day. Think about your triggers, about your horse's triggers, create a plan before you leave the yard. Because if you're calm, it helps your horse become calm too. And just remember, like, you can't both freak out at once. It's one or the other. It's not allowed to be both. So yeah, just plan, and visualize. I know I sound weird sometimes, and I'm sorry, but the visualization aspect for me is a really, really big part of it, and it really helps me. I'm quite like a visual thinker and a visual learner, and it really helps me to be able to think about what might happen and process those things before they actually happen, so that if they do happen when we're out and about, I have already got a plan in place and I instantly go to that, because I'm also not a great person in an emergency. So I do need something in place beforehand to be able to work through for if a problem does arise. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that you have some amazing outings with your horse this year. I will keep you posted on more outings in our trailer with Toby, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.